welcome to Brewers Daily, part of the Fan Arch Podcast Network. This episode is brought to you by Kalshi. Use promo code FANARCHBaseball to get $10 when you trade 10. I'm Dave Gasper. A lot to get to here after the Brewers finish off the New York Mets and get the series win on Wednesday. And now we are continuing to roll towards the trade deadline. That means we got rumors to talk about as well. Also, the Brewers continuing to sign their draft class, and they're moving up some minor league prospects. We'll talk about that as well. But the story from the game coming out on Wednesday, Joey Ortiz. And I'll tell you what, I had a apparently perfectly timed article that went up on brewcrewball.com talking about how Joey Ortiz is kind of eliminating the need for the Brewers to address third base at the trade deadline. And how he's been playing so well lately over the past month, especially the past couple of weeks. Joey Ortiz has been playing really well, and it puts the Brewers in a spot where they may not necessarily need a third base addition. And then, what does Ortiz do on Wednesday afternoon against the Mets? He's just a home run shy of the cycle. He gets the single, double, triple, and then he comes up in his last at bat, and the Mets walk him. The Mets are scared to pitch to him. At any point earlier in the season, would you have thought a team would be scared to pitch to Joey Ortiz? Probably not. But here we are. Joey Ortiz is on that kind of a heater. He's playing fantastic defense over at third base. I mean, we've talked about this a little bit before, but it's just continuing here. It's Joey Ortiz season, Ortizan season, as we're calling it, I believe. So, look, I'm so happy for Joey O being able to get on this stretch here. And I mean, even when David Hamilton comes back in the next couple of days, I mean, Pat Murphy might just have to roll with Joey Ortiz as the largely everyday option at third base because he's the hot hand. You got to ride the hot hand here for as long as you can. I understand that you're probably going to want to get David Hamilton going in there. You may have some favorable matchups that you want, but the kind of heater that Joey's on, roll with it. Just roll with it. Keep him going. Just keep it up for as long as you can, and just kind of see what happens. But Joey Ortiz doing a phenomenal job here, especially as we're leading into the trade deadline of trying to make sure, hey, my job and my playing time are going to be secure. I may have lost out on the shortstop job, but I'm going to find ways to be in this lineup. So he's being productive, and it helped contribute to a nice Brewers win on Wednesday afternoon as they finish off the New York Mets. Now they have the off day today before they welcome in the Colorado Rockies for the weekend. But yeah, I mean that's certainly the big highlight for the Brewers right there. But trade deadline again, still coming up early August 3rd, and there are rumors about which teams are sellers, which teams are buyers, and the Toronto Blue Jays this year are sellers. It seems like they came this close to winning the World Series last year, and now this year they currently sit in last place in the AL East. They are 46-56, and they're 13 and a half games out. 0.1% chance to win the division, 7.3% chance to make the playoffs. It's not looking good for the Toronto Blue Jays. And meanwhile, they still have a bunch of veteran players. Kevin Gausman is one of them. And Kevin Gausman, 35 years old, has an ERA of about 4.51 this season. Last year of his contract, making $23 million this year, but he's a rental. And I mean, you're really only going to be on the hook for a third of that. And even then, the Blue Jays might pay some of that money down. But it was reported the teams on Kevin Gausman's no trade list. He's got an 8-team no trade list, which is kind of common. And the teams were reported by Ken Rosenthal: Cincinnati Reds, Detroit Tigers, New York Mets, the Athletics, Chicago White Sox, Pittsburgh Pirates, Seattle Mariners, and the Milwaukee Brewers. Very interesting. Why not the Brewers? Why not the Mariners? I mean, I understand that you took on the Mariners in the LCS last year. The Brewers were also in the LCS last year. The Brewers are known for being great working with pitchers. I understand that you're probably, 35 years old, kind of set in your ways. You like what you're doing, but it's a lot of Midwest teams that he's trying to block a trade to. I mean, some of them are kind of bad, like, the Mets have been bad, the Pirates. The White Sox historically have been bad. They're much better this year. The Reds have been bad. So, like, you kind of get it for some of them, but also players sometimes choose the teams for their no trade list that they think are most likely to trade for them just so that they can exercise some leverage when it comes to the negotiations. It's not necessarily about not wanting to go to a city or not wanting to go to an organization, because from everything that I've heard, the reputation of the Milwaukee Brewers around baseball is very, very good. The players themselves, like, they enjoy playing here. They speak very positively about the city, about the fan base, and things like that. When it comes to being a Milwaukee Brewer, when it comes to playing here, they love it, and obviously, chance to be successful. Like, they have been winning a lot of ball games. They have been making the postseason. So you have yourself a legitimate chance here. The Toronto Blue Jays don't really have much of a chance at the playoffs this year. So the Brewers would be a spot that you'd want to go. So it wouldn't kind of make too much sense for him to be like, ugh, no, certainly don't want to go there. It may just simply be a matter of leverage when it comes to things like that, and just trying to eye up, okay, who would be the teams that could trade for me. And maybe Gosman just simply doesn't want to go. He just doesn't want to leave Toronto. He wants to play out his last year there, and then kind of continue on. But still, the Brewers are going to have a little bit more of an uphill battle, perhaps, if they wanted to get Kevin Gosman. And I'm not saying necessarily that they do. I mean, it's certainly possible. He is a veteran, and he is a rental, so he wouldn't necessarily cost you a ton to go out and get. So that is kind of a positive in his favor. But again, 4.5 ERA, 21 starts this year, so he has been able to eat up some innings. 115 and 2/3, 117 strikeouts, 1.28 WHIP. So he's been serviceable, but he's also taken a step back from where he was in terms of production in previous years. I mean, last year he was a 3.5 ERA, 3.59. The year before that, 3.83. The year before that, 3.16. So he's been consistently in the threes, in the low to mid threes. In 2021, he was at 281. That was back when he was with the Giants. But also, I think the key for me is that every single year going back to 2021, he has made 30 plus starts. He has made 31 or more starts in each of the past 5 years. And 2020, obviously, he didn't have enough games for that, but he pitched in 12 games, had about 60 innings, so that's basically a full season there. So yeah, Gosman has been a healthy, reliable workhorse for a long time. He's got over 2,000 innings in his career. So one of his best abilities has been availability, being there. So obviously at 35 years old, some of the stuff has taken a bit of a step back, but he's got the Brewers on his no trade list. So I mean that could take the Brewers out of the running. It could mean they have to pay a little bit more. It could mean they might have to pay the same. They just have to kind of convince him, and Gosman needs to give his okay first. So it doesn't necessarily mean that he's not going to be coming here, but it does add an extra hurdle for these negotiations. All right. So now there's still several games left until the trade deadline, and you can trade every single game on Kalshi, which you absolutely love to see here. But the Brewers don't have themselves a game today because it is Thursday. It is an off day, but that doesn't mean you can't be looking ahead here to the Brewers and Rockies coming up this weekend, starting on Friday. And the Rockies have just not been super great because they are the Rockies. So the way this game is currently trending on Kalshi, the Milwaukee Brewers are currently getting a 69% chance to win. and that means a $100 trade pays out $136 with a Brewers win on Friday night. They got the alumni game. I think they're going to have to win there, but 136 bucks is what you would win there on Kalshi. Because on Kalshi you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house, and as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use promo code FANARCHBASEBALL to get $10 when you trade 10, KALSHI, Kalshi, trade on anything. All right. So, we've also been talking about the draft here. The draft pick signing deadline is July 27th. So that's coming up in just a couple more days. The Brewers have announced some more signings there. 12th rounder Marcus Cruzan out of Minnesota has officially signed as well. Right-handed pitcher, and he is now on the board. So that is a great one to see. So we're looking at this draft class and what the Brewers have, what they have signed. So far, you have almost all of your top 10. Yeah, again, you're just missing your 5th rounder, Aiden Knack, your 7th rounder, Grant Hill, so far, but I would expect those two guys to sign. Now you have Cruzan in there. And then it is the guys in the 13th through 16th rounds, and those are all high schoolers. Okay, those are guys who it's going to likely be heavily dependent on how much money the Brewers have left over from their other signings. So I think you got to get Knack done first. You got to get Hill done. Whatever their bonuses are, above, below slot, you got to know how much savings you're going to have there that you can then use for those final 4 guys. Now, with all these other bonuses in the rounds 11 through 20 range, the Brewers have not gone over their limit at all. So you can go up to 150K on these bonuses without it counting towards your bonus pool. And Gavin Perry, 11th round, 150K. Chance Ruby, Brady Smith, 17th, 18th rounds, 150K. Sam George out of Minnesota State Mankato, 100K. So you're below the threshold there. You're not using any of your bonus pool money. They did lose a lot of their slot savings on Sawyer Strasnyder and Julian Garcia, their 2nd and 4th round picks. Strasnyder, $2.1 million bonus. His slot value was $1.35. Julian Garcia, $585,000 slot, $1.5 million bonus. So a lot of your savings there on Trey Ebel, Kyle Jones, Ryan Oshinsky, your 9th and 10th rounders, your senior signs, a lot of that got eaten up with those picks. So they only have about less than $1 million left total, kind of spread around between Knack, who has a slot value of $425, Grant Hill, who has a slot value of $264, and then your 13 through 16 round picks. So I still think they can sign a couple of them, maybe 2 or so, but they're not going to be able to get all 4, I would imagine. But 2, maybe 3, depending on what kind of bonuses some of these guys get. Of Carson Hart, Dante Bell, Keaton Majorana, Braden Havard. So that is kind of the balance that the Brewers have right now. But they need to finish up Knack and Hill first, the 5th and 7th rounders, before I think they're going to be able to finish up any more of those others. But that is how the draft signings are shaping up. Also, the Brewers have finally announced their first undrafted free agent signing, and it's a high school kid. Signing as an undrafted free agent, which is interesting to me. Why he wouldn't just go to college, after not being drafted, but okay. Kendall Hagedorn. He is out of the high school ranked Smith Cotton High School in Missouri, and he signs with the Brewers. So he's not going to be he's not going to cost anything on the bonus pool. If undrafted free agents sign for anything more than 150K, that would also count against your bonus pool, but he does not. But Hagedorn, per our friend Spencer Michaelis over here, in his senior year of high school, he hit .519 with a 1628 OPS with 8 home runs and 33 extra base hits, which is a Missouri high school single season record. He walked 22 times and struck out just 5 times. So, kid seems like he can rake. He's a catcher, and that's catcher is kind of one position I thought the Brewers might draft this year, and they did not draft a single one. So they're getting kind of something for those catching ranks. But they got that addition there as well. All right. Finally, here to kind of wrap things up, the Brewers have announced a couple other prospect promotions. Eric Brown Jr., remember him? First round pick in 2022. That's right, he was drafted ahead of Jacob Misiorowski in that draft class. He is now finally making it to AAA. He was hitting 213 in Double A Biloxi. Now he's up in AAA Nashville. But he had kind of been stalling out in Biloxi for a while there, so he now finally gets the bump up. Sadly, because Jet Williams has been placed on the IL in AAA Nashville. So again, if you're hoping for a Jet Williams promotion, he's hurt, so not quite able to do it. So they need an extra infielder. They call up Eric Brown. So he gets the call there. And to kind of backfill his place in Biloxi, the Brewers are promoting Marco Dingus to Double A. Dingus had been raking for Wisconsin for the Timber Rattlers in High A. Really, really good catching prospect. Kind of has been blocked a little bit with some of the catchers ahead of him, but very good to see this opportunity for Dingus coming up here and getting these chances to move on up throughout the system. You got Matt Wood already there in Double A, so it'll be interesting to kind of see how they mix and match the catchers down there. But Dingus finally getting the call. Eric Brown moving up. I mean, he's a first rounder, so you're going to kind of give him that little bit of extra leeway. Keep in mind, though, the Brewers gave Jacob Misiorowski more money than Brown in their signing bonuses that year, even though Miz was a second-round pick, which appears to be a good call so far to have given Miz more money. But yeah, he's kind of finally on his way there, and Marco Dingus is able to take his place in Double A Biloxi. So prospects moving up, and you got to clear room for now some of these draft picks that are going to be coming in and coming up throughout the system. So things are going swimmingly there. Brewers get their series win over the Mets, and now they will welcome in the Colorado Rockies for the weekend. But they get a nice little day off here to enjoy themselves and rest and relax. They'll get back at it on Friday. We'll be back at it on Friday with another Brewers Daily, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on X at dgasper24. Appreciate all of you watching and listening, and we'll see you again next time for another episode of Brewers Daily.